Modern Times Group splits up its esports game and video portfolio into a new company. The German Olympic Committee remains firm against esports recognition. And is anyone for tennis? Because it's the latest sport getting into the competitive gaming space. This is your TEO Monday Morning Briefing. Hey everyone, this is Graham Ashton bringing you the biggest esports business headlines of last week. Modern Times Group, the Swedish media firm that acquired the majority stake in ESL in 2015 and the entirety of DreamHack that same year, has announced that it will split off into two separately listed companies. This follows on from a failed 2.5 billion takeover bid from Danish telecommunications company TDC to acquire MTG's Nordic TV businesses, which will be part of a separate entity to be listed on Nasdaq Stockholm. While we won't see the esports significance of this for some time, the idea of MTG becoming a fully digital company with an emphasis on esports and gaming is still noteworthy. As part of last week's Game Developer Conference, both Facebook and Amazon have announced new software kits for game developers that could have distinct esports applications. In the case of Facebook, that's a new software developer kit that allows games to be streamed directly to Facebook Live, a feature that was tested with the Paladins Premier League. Meanwhile, Amazon's new API will allow game makers to add leagues and tournaments directly to their titles, and even ship prize deliveries through the e-commerce giant itself. If you were to list all the popular sports that are trying to break into the esports space, you'd have basketball, hockey, American football, European football. Anything major missing? Well, now the French Tennis Federation plans to get into the competitive gaming space by hosting a competition around the unreleased game Tennis World Tour, with a final to be held at the French Open. Perhaps the most noteworthy part of this news is that this series will be backed by the competition's main sponsor, BNP Paribas. In partnership news, DreamHack is not only extending its 10-year relationship with Twitch with a new multi-year deal, but in Spain, the digital events company is also partnering with Page Personnel to introduce career development opportunities at events, starting with DreamHack Valencia and DreamHack Sevilla. Meanwhile, performance drink Engage enters the Chinese market with a sponsorship deal with LGD Gaming, and Esports.com becomes the latest jersey sponsor for Astralis in a deal worth $2 million over 2 years, sources close to the Esports Observer say. Now, when the German government formed, it pledged to recognize esports as a sport. It's one of the most significant movements of its kind in Europe, but it also faces a lot of hurdles, the biggest of which is the German Olympic Committee, who last week responded to the pledge, calling the attempt to integrate esports into Germany's organized sports as the work of specialist politicians in the digital sector. We'll update you more as that story progresses. In the meantime, you can keep up to date with all esports business-related news on our website, esportsobserver.com. You can also follow us on social media using the handles above. We'll see you next week.